Hello, my most amazing artists. I wanted to pop in this slideshow and give you the slideshow we gave to third grade yesterday on Tuesday in class. We only got the slide presentation and some cutting of the paper done. So I'm going to break the project down into a few videos for you so you can feel like you're with us, but not get them in like tiny baby steps. We'll get more steps at once. So then you have a whole week to catch up to where the class is at the end of the day Friday, instead of trying to get Tuesday's work done Friday. Hopefully this works out a little bit easier. We'll mess around with the format and we'll invite you guys in on Google Meet hopefully soon. It just yesterday, I knew it was gonna be chaotic with the folding of the paper and you might need more one-on-one. So we will try different things to see what works best to make you feel a part of the art class with us, and we'll work from there. So here's the presentation we talked about yesterday in class. We are talking about landscapes, and landscapes are pictures of outside. So land, beaches, oceans, mountains, hills, farms, anything that's outside is a landscape. Remember, portraits are pictures of people. Landscapes are pictures of outside. So in a landscape, you have four parts. The horizon line, which is where the sky and the earth meet to form that horizontal line. So this is one. Then you have the foreground. And we talked about this on our slides we did on Friday, so this should seem kind of familiar. The foreground is anything in the front. Things in the foreground are the most clear and the biggest. So the foreground, imagine if you were to walk into this painting, it'd be the first thing you stepped on. So if we were to walk into this painting, we'd be tripping over this plow. The plow's the biggest thing in this painting because it shows that space and scale. As we move back, we go to the middle ground. And just like it sounds, the middle ground is in the middle or the center of the picture. Not every landscape has a middle ground, but really good ones do. Things in the middle ground are a little smaller than the foreground and less detailed. Now, as we move our way back here to the background, or even further back here, things get a lot smaller. So as you go back into your picture, the size gets smaller and the details start losing. You can't make out what that is way back there, but you know it's something. That's to give that illusion of distance and depth. And that's really what makes a landscape stand out. Here's another one we looked at yesterday. We talked about how this horizon line is where the sunset meets these mountain ridges. Okay, sometimes it's not a really clear line. It's just where the ground and the sky meet, and it just happens to meet up here. So in this picture, the background of these mountains, and it's also our horizon line. The middle ground is where this cabin is in this part of the river. And then the canoe is really up close and bigger. Now we can still see quite a bit of details in the middle ground here because it's really not that far. They're not giving us a huge amount of depth. So it's something we can talk about more as we get into landscapes. But you want to make sure things get a little bit smaller as they go back, because this canoe is about the same size as that cabin. But we know in real life that would not happen, right? So I introduced our inspiration artist for this project. Her name is Robin Mead. And if you look her up, she has some fantastic artwork. She lives in Georgia with her family. She used to be a social worker and she decided to stop being a social worker and become an artist full time. And she does landscapes that are really colorful and bright. I love Robin Mead for us because she keeps her drawings really simple and more stylized and less realistic. So this is what we looked at. See, nice bright colors, but you still get your foreground, your middle ground, your horizon line, and your background. I love how she draws her trees. She keeps them simple. She has bright colors. I like how she mixes water with the mountains. Something to think about. This is my favorite one by her. She made those really big flowers because that's like right up in your face, like you're in a sunflower field. Then there's some water in the back. There's further back are mountains. And then she has these fantastic sunsets, which is something you can think about. Again, more the same. The nice big flowers in the front. There's some water in the middle ground, and then there's mountains in the background. She doesn't do a huge middle ground in her pictures, but you can kind of still see like how these flowers get a little bit smaller as they go back and then from the front. If you like the idea of water, you can do some fun things with waves, lakes, stuff like that. She also does weaving like we did last year with our God's Eyes. We used yarn. She'll use yarn to do some embroidery, and she does fiber arts, which I love. So she'll take her paintings and turn them into embroidery art, which is pretty cool. And they still have your foreground and your background. So what I challenge you guys to do is we are going to be creating our Robin Mead inspired landscapes.